Hey, I'm Yipley, and welcome back to the new Super Mario Bros. DS Any% Speedrun tutorial. This segment of the tutorial, we're going to go over general speedrun tech, and some things you might need to know throughout the run. Let's get into it. Okay, to begin, let me explain how I'm going to be dividing the tutorial between different skill levels. The tutorial is going to provide instruction for 3 basic skill levels. These skill levels aren't rigid, so you should look at tactics used in multiple skill levels and decide what you're going to do in runs. I'm going to call the skill levels Developmental, Advanced, and World Record. I'm calling Beginner Tactics Developmental because it should be something you should look to grow out of into the Advanced Tactics, and you should learn them to build a foundation to work off of to go forwards in your development. Developmental strats should allow you to get a sub 26 or maybe even a sub 25 with enough work, so once you start getting into those times, it might be time to incorporate some advanced tactics. Keep in mind the main way that beginner runners save time is with consistent play, so don't go learning anything too advanced until you can consistently maintain a level of play throughout the run with developmental strats. Advanced strats are a good goal to strive to get to, as they are the essential tactics to get a really good time on the boards. If performed well enough, advanced tactics could bring you as low as a sub 2310. More reasonably though, advanced tactics will likely bring you to about a sub 24 level. Now with world record strats, if you do almost all of them, you could have a shot at world record, but the main purpose of me including them is to show what the current limit of the level is with them, just to document the absolute best known way to beat the game. You can think of them as just really advanced play that you would incorporate once you get like a sub 2310. The most important thing to consider while learning the game is to push yourself out of your comfort circle a little bit while ensuring that you have a solid foundation to fall back on. That's about all I've got for skill levels, so let's take a first look at some of the speedrun tech you'll be using throughout the run. Okay, title screen. This is where you'll be beginning all your runs and accessing your practice files. You can get here by pressing Start, Select, and your 2 shoulder buttons all at the same time. You can play with either Mario or Luigi. There's absolutely no difference between them, and neither is faster than the other. I prefer to play as Luigi, so that's who you'll see me as throughout the tutorial. You can play as him by pressing both shoulder buttons as you select a file. Okay, the blue shell is going to be the key to the run for us. It is going to help us in so many ways and is really nice. So the first real way it helps us is that it allows us to get the secret exit in one tower so that we can get to this cannon and skip all the way to World 5 straight from World 1. And you only have to complete 3 levels, so that's really nice. Another way it helps us is that you can run straight through enemies with it, and it has a smaller hitbox than like Fire or Big Mario. So it can just body enemies like real easy. Okay, so when we're in the shell, we call this a morph. So if I'm in a morph state, it's either something like this or something like this, like a fast morph state. And out of shell, like this, or jumping around like this, at full speed out of shell is called an unmorph. These are very useful at a higher level. At developmental, it's not really useful because we're going to be trying to keep the shell for the most part. But at a higher level, it's super useful because unmorphs are actually slightly faster than morph. So if you're in a morph state, you'll notice you probably won't notice honestly, but you run around 8% slower than if you're unmorphed. So this is slower than this. So if I'm doing this throughout a level, it's actually faster than if I'm just doing this. So at a higher level, we'll try to optimize the amount of time you stay unmorphed. So yeah, and also with unmorphs, because you're going slightly faster, your jumps actually go just a little bit farther. So that jump will go a lot farther, well, about a block farther than this jump. So yeah, that's the main benefits of being unmorphed, and yeah. And the way that you do an unmorph is releasing jump while you're at full speed in the air. I like to just release jump and run at the same time. Or sorry, releasing run while you're in the air, not jump. But I like releasing both of them honestly, just because it's a lot easier to re-press them for like chaining unmorphs. But you can do whatever, as long as you release run while in the air to perform an unmorph. Another benefit is that it makes you swim a lot faster, and it's a lot easier to control yourself in water. So in levels like 8-3, which is completely a water level, it saves around like 10 seconds, and with 8-2, it can save around 15 seconds throughout the entire run, just keeping shell for these 2 levels. So that's really nice. Let me show off some non-shell movement. Okay, ground pounding in this game is really weird. In most games, right, if you're just running and holding right and jump and then press down while you're still holding right, that will perform a ground pound. But not in this game. I'm pressing down right now in the air and nothing is happening. In this game, you actually need to release all other directions on the D-pad and then press down. So no diagonals, and it's called a neutral ground pound. So yeah, that's something. Let me get to the end of this level so I can show off another little tech that we'll be using in every level. Actually, besides like a couple. But every level with a flagpole. So in some Mario games, it's faster to hit the flagpole facing frontwards. In this game, it's actually a little bit faster facing backwards. So that sounds a little counterintuitive. But when we approach the flagpole, we'll be running at normal speed facing to the right, correct? But just before we hit it, we want to turn left. And the reason that is that he actually turns around. He does a little turning around animation when he hits the bottom of the flagpole if we hit it while facing forward. So I'll show what that looks like. So watch for when he gets to the bottom of the flag, he's going to do a little turning around animation, and that's really slow. So we like to avoid that for every level by turning left of the flagpole. So you see that he kind of rotated around the flag. So we want to avoid that. Some more some more tech that has to do with the flagpole is fireworks. Look at the timer in the top right. Whenever the last two digits are exactly the same, so if it's like 388, like right now, that actually wastes time if you hit the flagpole on one of those digits. Oops. So yeah, we want to avoid that. And the reason that is because, let me show you what happens, it will play fireworks. I'm also going to turn around the flagpole this time so you can see how that animation of him turning at the bottom doesn't happen. So we will get fireworks if I do... No, I didn't do it. Nice. I have to wait for 44. So at 3:44 on the timer, I'm going to turn around and hit the flagpole. And I will get fireworks, and you see he doesn't do the turning around animation. And the fireworks waste time. So every firework, it's like, I don't even know, half a second. So those add up. So you do not want fireworks because they will waste all of your time. And also, you saw this toad house. There's the little animation of that showing up. So that also wastes about 3 seconds. So in total, fireworks usually loses you around 5 seconds. So we want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So when you're coming up to a flagpole and it looks like you might get fireworks, the last two digits are the same, you probably want to slow down, just to avoid that. Okay, here's a weird little bit of kind of anti-tech. You don't want this to happen. This is bad. It's called a pixel stop. It happens most prevalently in 8.4 because 8.4 has a lot of vertical moving platforms. If you land on a vertical moving platform and get unlucky, sometimes you just randomly lose all your momentum. It also happens when you hit like an edge of a block. So if I land, it's kind of hard to do, but if I land on the edge of a block, or I'm getting pretty lucky now, I'm not getting any pixel stops. But if I, oops, I almost died. Getting spiders. Oh, you saw it happen there. I kind of just like stayed still for half a second and lost all my momentum. So I'll try and make it happen again. It's kind of difficult to force to happen, but passively it happens a lot. So there are ways to cancel it. I'll try to show it again. You just randomly lose all your momentum if you land on a vertical moving platform sometimes. So yeah, that happens. There are ways to cancel it. Like you can shoot a fireball if you have fire, or crouch, which is more commonly used. And get it again. Huh. And like I mentioned, you can also do these on the edges of platforms. So if you land on the very corner of a platform, it's also going to lose all your speed. So if I do that, you saw I just stopped for half a second. Yeah, so just watch out for if that happens. And you want to be where, oh, there it happened. So I just kind of randomly stopped. So yeah, that's a weird little thing that we try to avoid. But sometimes it's unavoidable, it just happens and you can't do anything about it. So yeah, that's pixel stops. And that's all I've got in terms of general tech. There's still a few weird things specific to some levels, but I'll cover them in the level tutorials. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the Discord or the comments, and the other runners or I will answer them as soon as we can. Well, I guess that's all. See ya!
Yes.
Yo?
Yes, I did it! Yes! Yes! Let's go!